Is Raw going back to 2 hours a good thing? We're going to answer that question here today. Welcome back to the channel. Before we get into all that, I obviously have to say like the video, subscribe to the channel. It'll help me out a lot. Raw is going back to 2 hours until the end of the year. And some people are saying it's a good thing, some people are saying it's a bad thing. Triple H has, to his credit, mastered how to produce a good 3 hour show. Raw is really good. Consistently, it's been for the last couple of weeks, the last couple of months, it's been really good. Actually, for possibly even longer than that, but it's been really good consistently. And there's so much talent on Monday nights, and I think we can attribute it to that and the fact that feuds play out on Raw. Some feuds even end on Raw, and there's so many stories that they end on Raw. Like the Wyatt Six, I believe that feud would have ended in that street fight, that great match on Raw. The feud played out, ended in a great match on Raw, and there's so many interesting and intriguing stories on Monday nights that play out. That's made it so good, and that's filled the whole 3 hour program. And I think with this now changed to 2 hours, I actually think it's not a great thing if I don't think it's a good thing if people are gonna go over to SmackDown, because now I believe the reason they've put so much talent on Raw, because let's have it right. If we're gonna have it, let's have it right. Raw is a much better roster than SmackDown. When you even look at the mid card, there's just so much talent, so many mid carders on Raw right now. And then you look at the mid card division on SmackDown, it's not even comparable. You just got Andrade, Carmelo Hayes, obviously LA Knight's the champ, the US champ, and then you probably got Santos. And off the top of my head, right now, I can't think of anybody else. You guys let me know in the comments down below if you can think of anybody else. But right now, off the top of my head, I don't think there's a serious mid carder that I give a shit about that I would put there. You know what I mean? In that mid card division, so it's really just them. And I think the way SmackDown's been, it's just lacking any sort of excitement, intrigue. There's some good stuff, but it's so boring and bland right now. With Raw if Raw's gonna go to 2 hours, then a bunch of superstars are gonna have to move to SmackDown, in my humble opinion. Because there's so many people that you really could move to SmackDown to enhance that show, and it wouldn't take away from Raw, especially if it's going down 2 hours. Because if that's the case, and we're gonna keep the roster as it is right now, you gotta keep what's most important and most intriguing on television. And I might get a lot of hate. I don't care. I might get a lot of hate for this. I couldn't give a fuck. I'm just gonna be honest. If because there's time that needs to be taken away, the time is gonna have to be and is going to be taken away from the women, especially on Raw, when there's so many intriguing stories. On Raw, you got Bronson Reed, who's been absolutely outstanding since fucking demolishing Seth, my boy. Then you obviously got Punk Drew. You got the Judgment Day versus the Terror Twins. Whatever the Wyatt Six might be doing next, which I'm gonna make a video on that. What's next for the Wyatt Six? Stay tuned to the channel. Subscribe to find that out. So there's just so many things, and if we're gonna put that all in 2 hours, each thing's gonna need to get its own time, including whatever matches are on the show, which I hope they get time because I've been enjoying the long matches on Raw. Pete Dunne as well, and that Sheamus story is also happening. You see, there's so many stories on Raw that if you're gonna take away something, it's gonna have to be from the Lara Valkyrias and the whatever that stupid group, Sonya Deville's group and whatever. Because the Natalya return that nobody gave a shit about, I think that match barely got time. I kind of skipped it. I didn't really pay attention. I was watching Monday Night Football, so I don't really know how much time it got, but it just fell short to me. kind of watching both and more focused on Monday Night Football when I saw something like that come on the show. So we're going to have to take even more time away from that. The women's tag team division, air quotes, because no one gives a damn about it. And I don't know why it's still a thing. Hopefully, after Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill split, and then they have the rivalry heading to WrestleMania. Most likely, we just burn those tag team titles. But back on my point, there isn't gonna be enough time for everything. So, like, I think a Pete Dunne Sheamus story could easily be put on SmackDown to help kind of the lack of excitement, the lack of stories happening on SmackDown. You know what I mean? In the mid card, you could easily just put that on SmackDown. There's so many superstars you could put on SmackDown to enhance that show, but in a 2-hour program of Monday Night Raw, it wouldn't take away because there's just so much good and so much story that is on Raw, that's been invested on Raw. So I think we all, not if this is going 2 hours, you are going to have to move some people over to SmackDown just for the purity of helping that show. Because right now, SmackDown, I do not get excited for SmackDown going into the show, and then after the show, I'm not excited for next week's show. So we need to take some people from Raw with it going down 2 hours and put it on SmackDown and put a little more energy onto SmackDown. Because I think Raw is solid. There's a basis. There's a structure. We know how the show's structured. We got the stories, the good stories. It's all there. Now we need to take some people, take some of those stories, and put them on SmackDown to help that show. Because right now Monday Night Raw is so good. It's really good. It's doing just fine. And going down 2 hours, it's honestly just gonna make the show even better. Just because now there isn't gonna be as much of that filler, the women's mid card division. So when you take that out, you take that filler. Each thing's gonna be so important. You gotta be there in 2 hours. It's gonna help the show. The problem is we're gonna take time away from the other important stories that are happening. Pete Dunne, Sheamus, you know what I mean? It's Bronson Reed. We're gonna take time away from that. You got the IC title. Obviously, you're not gonna take time away from that. I didn't mention you got the Gunther Sammy thing, and shout out Gunther because I surely thought he was gonna say Shawn Michaels was his favorite. On Raw, he said Bill. That got a pop out of me. I did not expect that. I thought for sure he was gonna say Shawn Michaels. We even got that story. I didn't even mention it. The world champion. Because the main story is Punk Drew, you forget the world champion Gunther and his story. So you know what I mean? There's so much there that I think you could even take a Bronson Reed, that story. You could take, like I said, the Sheamus, and just put it on SmackDown, like to help that show. Because Bronson Reed right now is so good and is one of the best things about Raw. If you take it on SmackDown, besides the Bloodline, will probably be the best thing about that show. So much that you could just take from Raw, will keep the show good, and just put it on SmackDown. So that's my thoughts on it. You guys let me know down in the comments down below. Like the video, subscribe, click the notification bell so you're notified when I upload another one. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.